everybody. This is Matt Bozon. I'm the director of the Shantae game series. We're here for a Devs React video, and I'm joined by Erin Bozon, who's the creator of Shantae, both the character Shantae and the original game Shantae.
Hi.
Yeah, we are a husband-wife creative team, and we also have here Purple. Purple's doing a speed run of the original Shantae for the Game Boy Color. So there you go. Purple, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. I've been looking forward to recording this all week. It was a holiday in the US this last weekend. I've done nothing but play Shantae, trying to get this new world record just for this video. And I did it, so I'm really excited. I hope you guys, enjoy seeing some of the crazy stuff that I do.
Yeah,
some of the less crazy stuff that I don't do.
We're looking forward to it. I want to see, is it going to be horrible? Or are you going to break the game and we're going to get sad?
Some parts. So a lot of stuff at the beginning of the game is pretty tame. There's some tight platforming. I'm just playing the game but fast. Mm-hmm. But then as you get later into the run, it gets there's some, I wouldn't call them crazy glitches, but yeah, it gets.
There's a few funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for spending your weekend playing.
Yeah, I feel guilty. We were outside getting sunburned, so.
No, I was so ready. So my previous PB, which you can see on the right there, was a 103. So I'm the first person to ever get a time that starts with 103.
What?
And I really wanted to get a 102. And so I've been working trying to get this 102 for probably 4 months, and I have to hand it to the people in the Shantae Speedrunning Discord. So I dug up some old videos in that Discord. I found, some strategies I wasn't employing in my previous record that I was able to use here. Which bumped me down almost an entire minute, and then I saved even more time on top of that just from fixing some mistakes. So I ended up getting the 102 I really wanted, and it was like just in time. I just finished this video yesterday.
Wow. What's really funny is the watching you play already. You can imagine we had to play through this game. I mean, I can't even say hundreds of times. That's not even accurate, right? But you just get so
daily playthroughs. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
20 times a day at least. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just constantly looking for a way, because it just becomes mundane. It's like, oh, I'm just trying to get I want to check a thing, right? And eventually
check if this platform works.
Exactly, skipping those 2 bricks, getting that jump you just got, because you just get shaving off frame after frame because or you're just trying to get through it. But I don't know if I've quite got this down the way that I used to. I bet if I went back and played it, I'd be missing a lot of these jumps and stuff. So it's fun to see. I'd be really curious how long it used to take us to play through.
Yeah. No, having the perfect timed jump is a must.
Oh, absolutely. So you can see in the very top right, it says 21/462. That means I've played this game 462 times.
Okay.
I've made it to the end of the game 21 of those times. So the success rate is not great.
Wow. That's amazing. You know what's really funny? I also
for a little wiggly butt.
Yeah. I have no idea how many times we played the game in its shipped state. I mean, we played it, non-stop for years, but when it finally was done and then you have to put it down. I mean, back then, no game updates, right? It's like the game.
Yeah.
You're moving on to your next game, so.
Right. It's not like you go back and also
you don't have time.
And this thing hit stores a year and a half after we submitted it to Logitech, maybe later.
Oh, yeah.
It was a long time. So by then, we were fully into Game Boy Advance development at that point. So it came out. I'm sure I did an obligatory run through, but. And I'm not saying I never play it. Like, we'll go back and play it.
And we've played it with our nieces or our kids.
I'm sure.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, so this intro section isn't like crazy interactive or anything. You can see I'm dancing around. I'm wasting time.
Yeah, just looking for ways to shave off a frame here or there, and that's about
it.
it.
In my previous record, I whiffed one of these barrels. So that's about 4 seconds. I was tilting up. That one was a tilter.
Did you animate these guys?
I don't remember. I think you did.
Tinkerbell. Okay.
I don't recall.
It's funny. It all kind of blurs together.
I think I gave you the hatches in the different positions. It looks like my stuff. Yeah, the way the art was. I mean, we're trying to figure this out earlier today. I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure. Like, I did most of the sprite static poses. I think I animated a lot of the Shantae character. Erin animated a ton of the monsters, bosses. Right? I did tile sets.
Yeah, I did the monkeys.
But like this guy, I assume you
An
did
elephant.
Like
Yeah, I did do him.
there was a lot.
I did him.
And then yeah, because the team was small. I don't know if you guys know, but the dev team for this, three people forever. I mean, eventually we had a few more people join on to finish the game up, but during most of the development time, it was me and Erin for 6 years co-developing just like the ideas.
Wow.
Erin at the beginning, right? So you by yourself at the beginning.
Yeah.
Game concept, character, what you wanted to do with it. Then
Together, yeah, we were really animating. Like, I'd animate the characters, and he would do the backgrounds and some of the bosses. And then it kind of flipped when it came to this console.
The pixel version.
Yeah,
because way back when, we were pitching for PC. Well, really, it was PC, Super
Wow,
Nintendo.
really?
Yeah, things were moving on quickly, though. I always joke like Doom kind of got in the way of everything because we love Doom, but things were shifting fast. It's like, oh my gosh, everyone's playing Doom. Doom's so awesome, and they're like, we don't want
Quake. Yeah.
Yeah, we want those 3D games, right? Like, get rid of this stuff. And we're like, well, I guess it's more Super Nintendo-y. I mean, really, Nintendo's are kind of our wheelhouse, right? So it makes sense. But there was no Game Boy Color when we were pitching this game. That was 6 years. No, longer. 8 years before? I don't remember anymore. 94 till whenever Game Boy was still black and white. So I think we were starting to consider, could we adapt this thing to Game Boy? And then we were reaching out to Nintendo, and that's when they're like, hey, we have some new stuff we want to disclose you on, and it was Game Boy Color. And so we were given really like documentation and dev kits and things, but it was all in Japanese. So it was like, all right, click around, see what this button does. And you click something, you're like, nothing happened. A few weeks in, you finally get a pixel moving on the screen. You're like, okay, that's how you import the art into this thing. So yeah, just out of curiosity, so what's going on? What's going on right here? It looks like
the forest and like the scarecrow fields, they're not super. They're not anything to they're not flashy.
Yeah,
if you noticed, I took a bit of a dip in the water after that first boss fight. That's because dying is so important in this speedrun. Halfway through the game, there's like a mandatory game over, which is gonna sound crazy, I know, but there's a mandatory game over halfway through the speedrun that I gotta prepare for. So every time I get a chance to die and it's not slow, I'm gonna take it.
Is this a zombie caravan thing?
No, it's not actually.
Okay, because that, there's a whole thing with that. Like once you get to that town, that's the town that it doesn't move up until a particular trigger, and then it starts moving, and then it completely randomly shows up in places.
So about the dev kit thing, actually. So, what language was this game originally programmed in?
Oh, what was it? C++? C++?
Wow, that really surprises me because.
Wait, am I wrong? Or you know what? Hang on, I might have to find that out. I'm not sure.
It wasn't DOS.
No, it was like But Jimmy Huey, he was like the third member of the team, and he did all the Game Boy miracles you see on the screen where it's doing things.
Oh yeah, because a lot of when I joined the Shantae Speedrunning Discord, I'm like, how many people have looked at the code for this game? And you get a lot of blank stares.
Yeah.
So I have looked through so much assembly for this game.
So yeah, no, this wasn't all assembly, wasn't it? Because I know he had to write things really close to, like the way he described it, like close to the board, like tricking things with
yeah.
So like
I'm
games,
a little bit too familiar.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
It was written in straight assembly. Okay.
I think it was straight assembly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
How roly Bolo's legs look. It's like little
Right.
little rolls.
He's wearing like knee-high socks on. It's really supposed to be knee pads, but But yeah, all the little things where I forgot what you call the technique where you're faking parallax, but basically
yeah.
There's a point where he's like, hey, I could probably get this to look like parallaxing, but you'd have to give me an animation of of a
Yeah,
pixel.
so it copies the same tile, like it copies a different tile in every frame.
Yeah, so what he's doing is blitting the screen you draw in from a tile array. You're grabbing, so there's two banks. I mean, this is going to be technical, and anyone who's a programmer listening is like, this guy's stupid. It's like I'm repeating things that I think maybe Jimmy might have dumbed down for me a little bit.
Right.
You know, and it's like, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. I know the Jimmy to me equivalent version of how I can speak to him, right? It's like a bank swapping system. You've got two banks of art. Generally, you're supposed to use one bank for all your graphics, really, your game graphics, and the other bank is usually for your fonts or your and then there's and I think for sprites too. Also, it's like mapped out. But he wrote a whole bunch of things for, this to swap them out, be able to do nice little tricks.
Yeah, and it's extremely impressive, by the way, because that Game Boy not a very strong computer.
No, but it's great when you can do those things like that. That parallax effect is just a pixel animation.
Oh yeah, and
the
bricks,
yeah,
the bricks in the background of this dungeon, it's like almost the entire time you'll be able to see it.
8 pixel, it's just a little 8x8 pixel thing, running in.
So it gives it the illusion of movement, but
and there's like a slightly darker shaded version of it for the shadow effect.
After it was all done, we're like, that took forever, and he's like, you want to go for broke and make a shadow version? I'm like, what's that gonna be? He's like, give me 64 more animations of pixels.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, so it's all tile animation.
Right. Same with the water.
That thing looks, the reflective water looking or distortion is supposed to look like a scanline interrupt you'd see on a Sega Genesis, but it was just frame animation.
Right. So a lot of cheating with animated sprite.
Oh yeah, and you have to on the Game Boy.
All this stuff when you're moving in and out of light sources, typically it's like, hey, you can load a palette per scene, right? You can have a palette for your background, you can have a palette for your sprites. So he's, again, it's Jimmy, so he's like, hey, I can swap the palettes out. If you give me another palette, I could probably force her to look like she's going into a shadow or something. So in the end, we ended up making, we took that. It's like, hey, well, if you can support, one palette, could you support like, say, 1,000 palettes? And so he's like, yeah, I could probably. So he starts making all of these, support for custom palettes. That's how there's all these things where it looks like you're getting darker and darker in light.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's like, hey, it's a little jarring. Is there any way you could real-time blend those colors from one color to the next so it's not just like a quick snap to it? He's like, I guess, are you sure you want to? Like, every single time, it was fun. He would say things like, if you're willing to tear down and effectively start over, if this is the hold nothing back, if that's what we want to do, yeah, there's a way to do it. And each time, I think we'd go, let's do it. So
we always called it like, burn your baby. You have to like start from scratch.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah.
Just do it again. But yeah, so this labyrinth, I'm sure you guys know by now if speedrunners are have pulled this thing all apart. You're just on one giant canvas running around.
Yeah.
So all the rooms are literally adjacent one to the next. It's not. It stays that way. Risky's Revenge is built that way. Pirate's Curse is discrete loads every single room, so you don't have as many opportunities to. The only one in Pirate's Curse that's one giant map, like one giant canvas, with rooms designated by collision boundaries as the cave system. So that's why in Pirate's Curse, well, wait, no, I'm wrong. Hold on. No, I'm wrong. Risky's Revenge has the cave system where it's all one giant interconnected. It's one giant map, so that's why you could run through. If you can find a way to get out of bounds in a cave, you can get to literally any other cave as long as you can physically find a way to get there by kind of playing off screen, feeling your way around. So are you giving?
No, you really know your way around. I feel like this really makes it look mazy.
Thank you. That means so much.
Yeah, really fun to watch.
We were just talking the other day. I was watching a TV show and I saw the belly dancers that we referenced the Shantae animations from, and I wanted to give them credit. It was, I don't know if I'm going to butcher their names, but it was Nina and Vina. They were twins that were back in the 90s, did a belly dancing workout video that Matt and I watched over and over again, like hours at night, trying to.
And in the day.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You want to sound horrible.
Working during the day to afford our rent, so we'd spend our time at night watching these videos and animating. So we really do owe them credit because we were watching their workout videos that were really repetitive and had just a few frames.
Yeah, you're riding the thing. Yeah, exactly. Because it was workout stuff.
Yeah.
It's all loops, which is exactly what we need.
Yeah.
They've appeared in a bunch of movies too. If you look them up, besides belly dancing videos. They've been in, well, they were in TV shows and movies. I was watching ER at the time.
There's no issues with like calling out names of things on during your thing, right? we could say names of things. I don't know what rules are with networks and the YouTube.
Just said TV shows and movies. So.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. I was like, can we just start inserting clips of various television? No? Okay.
As long as it's not over top of my speedrun.
Yeah, are you, by the way, is this still you? I didn't see you breaking anything. This still seems like you're taking the main route through.
Yeah, so you get to see a lot of the game in the speedrun, which is really nice. Before I played this game, the first speedrun I did was Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Oh, okay.
And then after that was Zelda Majora's Mask.
Okay.
And the speedrun for Majora's Mask, for a very long time, you got to see most of the game, which is what I really liked about it, because in Ocarina of Time, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's probably 5 minutes long by this point. You don't get to see anything.
Yeah, we've seen a bunch. We'll watch it with our son especially.
So recently, sadly, Majora's Mask gone the same way. You don't get to see anything anymore. But this speedrun is nice because you actually get to enter all the dungeons properly. Sorry, I'm a Zelda player. I call them dungeons.
Yeah, funny.
Yeah, no, we love Zelda.
Yeah, this is great too. The some of the funny production stories, like that's Erin's monkey, like that's your animation.
Yeah.
And when we did, since Shantae,
you're gonna see it a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Shantae animation, or sorry, the Shantae development of Shantae 1, it went so long. We must have shipped, I can only guess, maybe 7 or 8 other games from the time that this game started and then it finally released. So in the middle of that,
I was working on Sabrina 1 and 2 during this one.
Yeah.
This is the laggiest room in the game right here. I'm playing this on a real Game Boy.
What, really?
So, yeah, that's why it looks so bad.
Wow,
the capture, so.
That's crazy.
It's like a slow-mo filter.
I know. So when I'm pushing the reel through that last hallway, you mentioned I was surfing on the reel. It's really hard to do because you have to react to how bad it starts lagging when you're pushing it around.
I do, yeah.
Yep, that's your
It's hard when you have a larger character to,
And that thing's a crazy thing.
To animate.
That's also like, it's a sliding background with a sprite on it. So you're trying to animate the eyeball turning corners, knowing that.
So you can see her upper body like cuts out because there's too many sprites on that scan line.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's real hardware.
Yep, we would do that. A lot of times there's a lot of, there's some stories about scanline or how many sprites on the line stuff. I don't want to lose track of that monkey thing because I tend to ramble.
Oh, sorry.
But no, that's okay. But that monkey animation, I remember when we were trying to knock out these Sabrina games as quickly as possible.
Right.
A lot of them had short deadlines, and so there's Salem the cat, right? And I remember you're just taking you're like, well, I think I can just turn that monkey into the cat.
Right.
So if you ever go play that game and you run around as the cat, you're just gonna see Erin's monkey animation.
Yeah, or if you look at Wendy the Witch game, I animated that one too.
Maybe I'll speedrun that one next.
Yeah, you see a lot of like cheats where I might replicate an animation but with a different character.
Right, I think the Shantae spiders.
Oh, I did the spiders.
They did sort of a stand-in in the Sabrina game too. I think we're like, we really need to hit a deadline.
Right.
So it's funny.
They're the same, like they're different.
They're close.
Yeah, but you'll see similarities with some of the squash and stretch.
The way the web works, the bounce on the end, right?
Because really, gameplay, you have to cut frames, so you can't be coming from a traditional animation background. You want there to be as many frames as you can, but for video games, you have to make the gameplay more important. So you have to cut some of the frames that you maybe would want, and just have instead of a lot of squash.
Oh yeah, and this game, it puts the Game Boy on the double speed mode, and let me tell you, it needs it because that thing is maxed out on CPU time every single frame. I
think it burns through your battery faster, if I remember.
Oh
right. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
You needed the scarecrow, didn't you?
I think so. I think that jumping out of the background looks.
Oh, yeah, I think we both worked on that guy. The swords.
Yeah, the guy hooking the.
Yeah.
The spears. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, a lot of these. And then the day and night cycle thing was almost just hey, now that we got this palette thing going, do we want to?
Yeah.
Like. This is one of the roughest spots in the whole game, I swear. I know there's other bad spots, but this one is particularly bad. This is like, the blind jumps are just...
Yeah, and you're gonna see me taking a bunch of hits here. They are on purpose. They're on purpose. I promise.
Oh, really? And they all? Oh, because you're getting the iframe so you can get through a guy.
Well, not just that. Not just that. I have to be on half a heart when I get to Oasis Town.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So that's a really fun. I won't spoil anything. That's a really fun part of the run.
Okay, I just caught that. Yeah, it's funny if we're
Wow,
making
you
this
so fast. It's amazing.
If we're doing this now, I'm pretty sure we would just go, all right, let's not have vertical scroll at all in this section. It'll just be like a...
Yeah, so this, like, ladies' desert section,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I take too much damage in the desert beforehand, and I have to avoid all the hits here, and it looks a lot more impressive, but I had some health to spare, so I just kind of run into everything.
Got it. Yeah, this is funny. And this is the same kind of deal, right? Where it's like you got your palettes are set up so that there's one color of yellow that overlaps the character and the same exact RGB values of yellow that are set to naught so that it looks like she sinks in the sand a little bit. Some fun little stuff in there. But yeah, on that topic of the sprite reuse, you know, from between Sabrina and Shantae and stuff, was really funny for us. I mean, from the perspective of anyone buying games in the order of release, you might go, oh look, Shantae borrowed some stuff from the Sabrina game.
But really,
Shantae. It's
Shantae
the other way around.
first,
Yeah, it was almost like some of those games had, hey, Sabrina's coming out, we're kind of like soft launching the spider. Hey, you know, we're soft launching the monkey animation in the form of the cat. It's really funny. So when you finally
Actually, the other way around.
Yeah, same thing with Wendy. We're like, oh, we want to put that parallaxing effect in, but we really made that for Shantae, but how can you not use it? It looks so cool.
It does. It really does.
So yeah, it makes it feel like Shantae borrowed those things, but yeah, it really was more like all the R&D effort was happening on the Shantae side, and then it was fueling other projects to have cool stuff.
Here we go. So I bought a pack of Storm Puffs. This is where they're coming in handy. This is the fun part.
All right, we're ready. Something bad's gonna happen. Or good, I guess. Yeah, what's
good for me?
Oh,
good for me.
I'm gonna die right here. Oh no.
Oh.
Hey, look at that.
Wow. Oh.
It's all falling apart. Look at it go. Oh no.
So I can kind of tell you how that one works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sadly, if I had the source code, I would love to have it, but from what I've been poking around in the ROM, there's like it's not exactly a process, right? But there's like a sub process that runs the text boxes. Mm-hmm. When you talk to the squid, it'll spawn one, and then I die. I talk to her again, it'll spawn a second one. It doesn't see any problem with that. And then when I say yes to put in the warp squid, I got 2 text boxes. So I say yes, it puts in 2 of them.
Wow.
I only have 1.
Okay.
So, you know, -1 squids is on the Game Boy. Everyone will recognize that as 255 squids. So
Wow. So
we end up being able, so that's why after I learned the song, the second text box is still like alive. That process is still alive, but because the first one closes, it ends up printing text inside the HUD because it uses like the same region in memory.
Yeah, I think I know what's going on, right? Because yeah, this is back to that banks. I think it's the bank swapping thing.
Yeah.
So when trying to get as much as possible, Jimmy did set it up so that, like, hey, if there's text on the screen, you can use this bank that has the text in it.
Yeah.
He would be impressed by that move for sure.
Yeah, but back in gameplay mode, we're swapping to the other, and I think you're basically forcing it to swap. That's how people get. You can also sometimes get an incorrect palette to load. So you'll
yes, that does happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Much later.
So
people like to freak out about that one because it's like, oh, Shantae's a different color, but I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. No, it's that she's using one of the alt palettes. Yeah, I know exactly.
I think it's the same palette as there's like one of her legs is using the monkey palette, one of them's using the elephant palette.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, and it's funny because these are all I don't know if everyone knows, they're handmade palettes. That's probably weird to think of, but you didn't use like Photoshop to optimize a palette. You pick palettes, you pick color entries, you write them down in a notebook, and you're like, all right.
You only got 4 of them.
Yeah, and then you keep adding and stacking and.
Right. And you'd have to compare it under different lighting conditions to make sure it's still red.
Yep, exactly. Certain colors on Game Boy Color don't work at all. I'm trying to remember which ones. There's a few, like anything red-ish tended to not. If you put red, like Fire Engine red, I don't
This
think
one
I don't
has
think
a
it would
little bit
display
of
it. It would,
orange, yeah.
right, so you'd have to kind of tweak, like when you play these things on emulators versus on the Game Boy Color, you'll get some kind of different, kind of
Yeah,
different.
we're on the Game Boy Advance. You had to completely change them for that one.
Yeah, they're all different color palettes to try to get it to feel like, because the original colors were basically take RGB values, which we do on our PC, and then we generally go. I mean, I had a couple of routes I would take. I'm like, okay, if I'm working on it in its early daytime, I'm running outside checking it under the yellow sun, right? Earth's yellow sun.
And then
Check it out.
we'd go outside, and then under the
I do with the
fluorescent lights.
Do it with the warm light. Do it with the halogen. The halogen light in the way forward elevator was like a nice direct white light.
And now you have to deal with monitors. So when we were doing our latest game, we had to have like the 4K TV. We had to look at everyone's different monitors to make sure it wasn't too dark.
Monitor calibration kind of can be off.
Well, and TV too. TVs are, depending on which TV we're using. Sometimes
Almost died there. I would have been so mad if I died there.
So out of curiosity, all right, so why get the what was the purpose of getting the two warp squids? Is it to help you?
Well,
I'm sure you know more than anyone. Like, the map is ring shaped, but you can't actually go around the ring until you get the harpy, right? So it might as well be a straight line. So first dungeon's on the right of the center, second dungeon's on the left, third one's on the right again, fourth one is even farther to the left. So there would normally be a lot of backtracking.
Yeah,
so
but
we get that one warp dance in order to cut down on that backtracking. And so a long time ago, we actually got 4 squids legitimately. But
now you get like 150.
But now you only need to get 1, and then you can turn it into 255. So
okay, yeah, this makes sense. I think there used to be some debate with the team of the maximum size of team, it was still only something like 6 or 8 people. When like, hey, what's the fastest route? Like, hey, what do you think is the most, or not fastest, but like most optimal once you get to a certain point in the game? I'm sure that's exactly what you're talking about.
So it perfectly hits 255. I wonder if that has anything to do with 256.
Well, yeah, because the Game Boy has no concept of positive and negative numbers, right? It's up to the software to determine what to do with those numbers.
Right.
So you put in 1 squid, it just decreases it by 1. You go from 1 to 0. You put in the second squid, it's like, okay, I'll decrease it again. It goes from 0 to 255.
Right.
So you're just looping it around. Yeah, and I think in the debug, if I remember right, I don't think it even had any concept of a cap. I'm pretty sure you could just...
Yeah, so if you go to the debug menu, it'll get you 99, but like it only shows the last 2 digits. So I have 253 right now, but it'll only show us 53.
Yeah, this was a fun one. This level was a lot of fun. This magnetism thing, I think we were always worried that we hadn't accounted for some route that you could take because it's a couple of figure eight. And
there's a lot of doors that don't do anything except for lead to another key. I got lost in here when I played the first time.
Yeah, because it was, we're trying to make it confusing, but also like, oh my gosh, I hope everything is plugged up and airtight. Because again, it's a small team, and it's that mindset of, you're never. I think what do we have? Maybe 1 person tested, and then and no updates. It's like, hey, when you launch your game, you're done.
Yeah. So from my experience, I think the dungeon does work. As long as you don't leave, because when you leave, you lose all the color completely.
Yes.
And it's like you get the best of both worlds. So you attract the key chests and you repel all the enemies.
Isn't that great?
As long as you don't leave, then you're good.
It seems these days unthinkable that we wouldn't turn a game inside out with QA testing, but we just didn't back then.
Yeah.
I know.
And I think it was also a little unclear, the line between developer and publisher. Back then, I guess in the mid '90s. A lot of times it was like, hey, deliver the game, and then you'd receive a bug report. Hey, fix these things. Whereas now, QA teams are very integrated into the entire.
Yeah, our son does QA, and it's super helpful. And my nephew did it for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. They're just part of the team now, so it's funny. We're just making a game, crossing your fingers on some stuff.
So this is gonna sound crazy. This game is the newest game I have played in a very long time.
What are you playing?
Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask.
Oh, right.
Is that right? Yeah, because this game released the same time as Mario Sunshine did.
Yeah, 2000 was it 2001 or 2000?
2002
Two,
technically,
yeah.
Ooh,
I mean,
okay.
but you know,
we
for
were
us,
we were done working on it. I remember.
okay. Is he gonna come back to life now and fight you?
He does come back to life. You don't even have to do anything special.
That
But
is
yes.
so weird. When I saw that, so this is I don't know, unless you're about to do something wild here.
Not really.
That was I was shocked. We saw that when we did the Virtual Console re-release. We did a playthrough, and I'm like, whoa, wait, that Golem boss just came back to life and started doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, he comes back to life every time.
And we poked around. There were two weird things. One is, I'm like, hey, I can't find. I think something's wrong with this. You know, it's basically, I don't know. I guess like it's a build of the game that's going to go to Nintendo to become part of the Virtual Console, and then it's the same thing that happened with the re-release of the game from Limited Run. And in both cases, I'm like, hey, the Shantae, theme song isn't playing. Why isn't there the theme song? Where is it? Like, there's, the main Shantae song. It's nowhere. And I'm also like, what's up with that golem? Like, why is it coming back to life? And I think that's when we went, oh my gosh, I don't know, have we never?
Yeah, that was always there. So, like, in the speedrun, I get a game over like immediately after killing him. So, when someone sent me a clip of the fact that guy comes back to life, I'm like, oh, can I pick up the golem stone and then die to him after? But it's slower. It's slower than just watching the cutscene.
So wild. But even there, I remember running to. This wasn't that long ago. What was Virtual Console 20? Hang on, I've got this info I can find quickly anyway. Was it 2000?
I don't know. So I don't own a. What are you talking about? The 3DS Virtual Console?
Yeah.
I don't own a 3DS.
So I guess 2013 is starting to get to be a while ago. All right, but anyway, I remember running over. I'm like, Erin, what's going on with this? Where's the song? Like, am I going crazy? Yeah. Turns out the Shantae main kind of theme song isn't in the game. It's just not in there. Jake.
So yeah, I've never played any of the other ones. I don't even know what the main Shantae theme song is.
Yeah,
I just know the title screen for this one.
I'm starting to think I don't know what it is either.
Yeah.
I'm like, I swear it's on the soundtracks, but looking back, it was. I guess there's a story. You want another story? Here's the stories.
So you do like the monkey? I'm saying it's a lot of monkeys. So originally we were going to have her, or I was going to have her summon the characters, but for programming purposes, it seemed like players would have a hard time if she summoned a monkey and then she stayed on an edge and the monkey went to grab something and then had to come back to her. So I'm seeing with the run through, it's a good thing that we changed it to be that she transforms into it because, or the elephant. She was going to ride the elephant and then bust through things. But really with the monkey, she would have been left on an edge and then you would have had to summon it back. So it's nice that she turns in to the monkey. Otherwise, you'd have to constantly be going down into a cavern and then coming back up.
Right. It'd be that whole thing where like a Lost Vikings or...
Yeah, it would have been a lot of repetitive. Yeah, repetitive.
Yeah, so the monkey sees a lot of use mainly because Shantae jumps really high. And when you're playing casually, you don't use it so much because when you jump and you let go of like forward, in monkey form you keep moving forward, which is like a pain. You're trying to do those really precise jumps in like the zombie marsh area, and you keep falling into the hole because you can't like stop and just fall straight down. You gotta wiggle back and forth really fast.
Yeah.
But in the speedrun, you do those jumps a million times. You get really comfortable with it.
Is smaller too as the monkey.
So the higher you get the benefit of the higher jump without you don't care about moving forward. I'm moving forward the whole game. I don't care.
Right. You don't have to duck all the time. You're already small.
Yeah, that too.
Wow.
So there'll be some times where it's like I need to be the monkey to climb up a wall like 5 minutes from now. So it's like I might as well turn into the monkey now because your hitbox is smaller, you jump higher.
Oh, here we
are. Then it turns nighttime just barely in the nick of time. So the way that works is that I'm actually playing the game too fast. Like I saved and quit. You saw me save and quit. That is so I can reset the console to reset what time of day it is. Because if I were to just keep playing the run, you'd see me get to the caravan and sit outside for like 2 minutes straight. So it's faster. Yeah.
Saves you time. Wow, she's really going fast.
So, previous runs were not fast enough for it to be worth it. Because saving and resetting the game costs you probably 30 seconds up front.
Oh,
so you have to be, you have to be like 40 seconds ahead before you can even save any time from it. So it was really rough to get it in the route because it's like I know it's optimal. I just have to play really good or it doesn't actually work.
All right, let's see how you do this.
On your mark.
I have lost this minigame so many times. I literally have the answer written down. I'm looking at another monitor right now because I don't have it memorized.
No, this is it's
You do the low jump, like boink.
Yeah, because if you you slow down while you're in the air. So if I land on top of it, I can get back up to speed a little bit faster.
Yeah. So you have to jump low and.
But then, of course, jumping low has its own hazards because you know you jump a little too low, then this game takes a minute to finish if you mess it up.
Wow, you're doing great. It is intense though, watching the heads at the bottom because you know she's right on your tail.
I know. Who programmed this game?
Yeah, this one. So there's kind of some fun stuff. I touch on real quick. So when you were in the first labyrinth and you fought that water lady, the wet gal, she's called it. Is that was by a guy Mike Straggy who he's known for Booger Man. He's made so many other games, but he's known for that. But he ended up writing our Game Boy Advance engine and doing all the. I mean, he ran basically everything Game Boy Advance for years and years after that. But kind of his early days on the job here at Way Forward was working on that one bad guy. So he made the wet gal, and then Larry Holdaway, another developer on the Shantae stuff. This was kind of like that foot race was the part that was like, hey, Larry, this is the Larry part, right? So he's going to go work on that, and then he ended up doing.
Oh, Larry and I worked on.
The Sabrina games and all kinds of other stuff. So this is when we started going, hey, instead of just one team, we're going to start splintering a little bit, and so people were given tasks like, hey, here you go, Mike. You're on the wet gal bad guy, and then Larry on the mini game, with Jimmy kind of then as facilitating everybody's work. But yeah, when you play it, I mean, I don't know if everyone can tell, but like you can definitely feel like okay, Larry's I think the way I would put it is it's a little more mean spirited because he's really good at that mini game, right? So he'd get better and better at it. And
That's why he made it so hard.
Like it's like it's still too easy,
I probably had to play that thing 5 times in a row.
Yeah. So when I get to that point, I'm like, okay, basically in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm up against Larry. Here I go. So it's cool, but it's fun. It's fun when you associate people with certain parts of the game, which I guess that's something we get to do as developers.
Now seeing her take her leg off, I feel like in that last game where she was running and she hits the tree, it seems like we missed an opportunity for her head to like roll off.
Just break her apart or something. I don't know if we were getting that crazy with Roddy Tops yet.
Yeah.
Now, you're right. Now we probably would.
Looking back at it, I'm thinking, oh, her head should have popped off after she hit the tree.
Well,
Yeah.
When we release this the update 1.01 for Shantae Game Boy Color, right?
Send me a copy.
Yeah. And then this, of course, was like the birth of these silhouette things. It's like, oh my gosh, if we can do it, we ripped that off from Earthworm Jim or something. We had seen a silhouette thing somewhere else, and we're like, oh my gosh, we could let's instead of putting a palette in with lots of colors, what if it had no colors?
Whoa.
I know.
Novel concept.
Yeah, gotta run past that Dark Crystal guy.
So these eyeball puzzles, I guess you could call it a puzzle.
Yeah, kind of.
You want to warp out of the dungeon with the candy because like you need to use the key somewhere else, right? And so it's a little bit scary, which is very fitting for this dungeon. It's scary because if you want to use the warp candy as early as possible, so that right after you pick out the key, boom, you're outside. But if you use it too early and you warp out before you pick up the key, something goes wrong and you still get the key, but you can't enter the dungeon anymore until you die.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a real, that's the run is over right there.
Oh, dude.
Wow, and that's
fancy pants you just ran.
And that's like 38 minutes into it that you've already.
I know this game broke my heart so many times.
Aw. Well, thanks for keeping at it.
Do I point this out?
Sure.
There's a little Erin on the pedestal. There you go.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, really?
Like I'm gonna put my.
Oh, I didn't do it. He did it.
I was gonna say my wife to be. We were already married.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See,
I
know what year it was, right?
Pregnant with your baby.
Oh my god! Put a rating on this video. People giving birth. Yeah, we're making
the game is more than 18 years old. I think we're good.
Yeah. So Shantae was we call Shantae our first baby, but then we had A real
real
human baby.
A real human baby. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and right there, it's like, oh, why isn't this camera grounded to the ground, right? I mean, but when are you gonna? It's yeah. We're figuring it out. I see a lot of things where nowadays I go, oh man, that's all me. That's a decision I made. I'm looking right at
It would be fun.
oh, why didn't I?
It would be fun to do a remake or something.
Yeah, put some. Yep, get some of the camera. Well, just do things normally. I mean, we know that lives are in a questy type of game like this is a ridiculous idea. I think it's something I probably insisted on back then.
And we wouldn't want it as hard. Like, yeah, you wouldn't want it.
Well, I didn't think the game was that hard when I played it for the first time. I just think it's limited by the screen size. Like if you were playing on a full like NES size screen where you could see stuff before it's right in front of you.
That's true, yeah.
It would be a lot easier.
Really hard if you don't know what jumps are coming up.
Just killing
So the captures, unfortunately my capture's in 30 frames, so I can't really do this mini boss justice, but at the start it cycles around a couple times. It's like a pre-fight animation, I guess. So you can actually hit it while it's doing that. So I get 8 hits in while it's like spinning around in a circle. And then I haven't talked about this yet. You can learn the transformation dances. You learn it as soon as you hit B to talk to the genie. But I used the storm cloud to die because then I don't have to watch cutscene after. So I've done that twice. I didn't mention it before because I'm so engrossed in your stories.
To save time.
Oh, that's cool. Had no idea.
While you're cutting corners everywhere.
Yeah. There you go. Oh my gosh, where are you going? There you go. So
that's when you play this game 462 times.
Totally, yeah. The thing you were just talking about, the interlacing effect. If you can't see this on the video, probably not. Yeah, at 60 frames a second, that was another old school trick. It's like sometimes you could make it. This is the wet man that you fight earlier in the game.
Appears translucent. Mm-hmm.
Right, and you can you're fighting one of him, but he's every other frame at 60 frames a second. He's jumping from one location to the other and updating his behavior as though he's over there too. Right. And so it looks
really,
like
it's the same one.
Fighting the same monster.
I did not know that.
At the same time, and so what's happening is
he's just ghosting and sliding.
Right. It's like well, if you fought, yeah, exactly. Does that make sense? You're fighting the same guy in two places, but on odd frames, you're fighting him at one spot. Even frames.
So on my TV, I get the full 60 frames. It's just the capture that doesn't have it, which is a little disappointing.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. So when I say Jimmy is like crazy, I mean it. I'm not
he's brilliant. Yeah, for sure.
It lags so bad here too. So in the debug, I'm sure you guys know this, but for the people at home, in the debug menu, you can there's a sound test, and if you listen to the dancing, there's like a very small track for each of the dancing animations because they all have to play their own song, and the song actually extends past when you actually hear it in game. There's some unused like second and a half for each one. And so when this boss spawns, it's so laggy. It takes me so long to do the second part of the dance. You actually get to hear it in game. That's the only time you can hear it in game.
Wild. Yeah, those tracks were just they're just like you said, they're short little tracks. I think each one we only needed one measure's worth, but I think each of them actually is long enough to play for 2 measures, or it might even be a 4 measure loop. I'm not exactly sure.
And then at the end of the song, it doesn't like clear the sound hardware in the Game Boy at all. So you just get like this buzzing noise for forever after the dance finishes because it's expecting you to do the next note. It doesn't actually clear it out. So you just get this awful buzzing noise if you sit there for long enough.
I don't know if anyone ever wants to take a whack at this, but there was a bug for the longest time, right up until almost right at shipping, where it turns out it was a bug in the engine. So all of the way forward Game Boy Color games had this. Is if you press down and up repeatedly, what is it? Down, up, jump, down, up, jump, down, up, jump. You can catch a moment where it's trying to transition and it doesn't know where it is, and it'll register a jump even while it's trying to get into the duck state or something, or vice versa, either into or out.
Really? Because you can jump out of the crouch animation in this game, and you can also jump out of the animation for drinking a potion.
Yes. Okay. So that famous NES.
But you're telling me you can just jump just by pressing down? You can just jump after you press down?
It's like jump. It's like down up jump, or up down jump. I'm trying to remember, but it was fixed.
Right.
But
okay. I was like, dude, I need to get a new world record right now.
But it persisted. I mean, this thing just plagued us. Like we'd we'd go, like, someone would find it, and we're like, oh, how many games have we shipped with this problem in it? And sometimes we'd go back, check a game, and go, oh my gosh, it was in there. And I can't remember, of course, because it's just sad, I can't remember which ones it was. But since Shantae released last, I think Shantae had it fixed. But I'm not saying, there might still be some way to pull it off. It was just the game could be gotten into a state where it was like, hey, you're ducking and standing and jumping kind of at the same time, and things were stepping on each other as far as what state you're in. Wow, you're almost at the
This is fast.
Yeah, good.
This is giving me flashbacks of after working for like 10-hour days in the pixel world. We'd go home and I'd have dreams in pixels. I would dream in pixels. Crazy.
We started doing that thing. Like, hey, are you? Like, did any of you? This was starting to. Everyone was having this. It's like, hey, did you drop stuff and reach for the undo button? It's like, I've actually catch myself reaching up into the left hand corner of my head for the undo. You know, it's like, oh, it's not there. I must have. Yeah. Remember when Risky was the one who would dress up in costumes? Now it's Rowdy Tops, but it was Risky Boots at the beginning.
That's funny.
She was going to be the...
Spoilers! I fell for this. I 100% fell for this when I played for the first time. I felt so stupid. Oh, no.
Wow.
I shouldn't say that on the video, but I 100% fell for it. And it was so obvious, too.
That's good.
I mean, you got so many characters sharing color palettes, though, so it's not that bad.
The 256 color palette is limited. And with sprites, that's even...
Well, in this one, you know, I think there was even a hard limit of, even after you made all your choices, I think you could only get 64 to actually draw on the screen at once, right? So even though you've got you've got limitations within limitations. So there you go. Yeah,
this is the last time you'll see the spider climbing a wall. I do actually use the spider one more time, but it is not to climb a wall.
There's interesting other stuff here I guess I could point out that's kind of cool. Like in this section, you know how I'm sure you know, if you fly up above the sky here, you start getting into spots. See these giant chunks of rectangular earth? They have very hard divisions at certain points. You just saw another one. Those are like the 1024 by 1024 tiles. Yeah. So it's like, imagine blast processing, but it's like super de-duper blast processing. So it's like that blue chunk is another one, I think. Those are things where if you could get them to be exactly the same, then they would only, I think they would only store 1 bit or something. I don't remember how it worked exactly, but
we had to really crunch everything to fit it in the cartridge for sure.
So you see, especially when you get into the later areas of the game, that part with the pine trees and then this part with the snow, you see a lot more of those just massive tiles because we're like, we gotta make all this come together, and the game's
the maps are so big in like both directions. You know, you play like Super Mario Land, they only have to have level data in one direction because it never goes up and down. But some of these screens are huge, like the waterfall.
Yes, they're big, and
that's gigantic.
That's because I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I'll be honest.
I wish the waterfall was smaller because my runs always die there. That's a hard screen.
Yeah, it is really hard. If you notice, even this labyrinth, you can tell. Maybe I don't know if you can tell, but I recognize it almost right away. I'm like, oh, this one was built clearly 2 years after the dribble fountain one, the first one you played. You're basically 2 years later now in terms of dev time.
Wow.
We've started to learn where all the here's where all the hangups are.
Right.
So things start to be, if you notice,
you could add a few more colors in there.
Yeah, and there's also it's a little more vibrant. There's also things like instead of jumps sometimes being 8x8 pixel. Toenail grabs, we're starting to standardize more of 16 pixel. Spatially, it's more organized. I mean, it also makes it look slightly more generic. So it's almost as though the first portions of the game are almost sort of a slightly higher fidelity because they use 8 pixel optimization.
Yeah, and on top of all the pillars in Dribble Fountain, there's like a bust, like a statue bust at the top of everyone. Those are like not aligned on a grid, which makes them look, more organic, I guess.
And then this is where it started to become more contained.
More tile. Yeah, you have to get more abstract to fit it on the cartridge. I get that.
Yeah, it's a bit more optimal. And I think you see this in our future games as we started getting more to the, like, hey, it's not only is it better for gameplay, you can measure your jumps better. So I don't know if it comes off in gameplay, but I
think it's a lot harder. There's a lot of like jumps that you can't quite make, and you end up falling on like some stairs, and stairs are like the worst shape for Shantae to get up because she runs really fast. So you end up getting like stuck on the edge of every single step as you're going up.
Right.
I have to shout out my brother here because I am I finished my last year at university, and I'm practicing this speedrun at my parents' house. And my brother's watching me play this dungeon. And he's like, do you think if you jumped up those steps a little faster, you get over the bowling ball and not have to wait for it? I was like, oh, I bet you can.
Oh wow! And then here, yeah, there you go. That
He's never seen the game before in his life, but he saved me. He saved me 2 seconds there. He's just born to speedrun, I guess.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, our son does that a lot. He loves speedruns, so he's very optimal.
Yep, gotta play it. Always looking for that. Where can you shave a frame?
And then I didn't mention it, but these like whirlpool, the orange and red whirlpool things that send you flying in a direction, it preserves your vertical speed when you enter them. So if you jump into it from below, when I hit the wall, Shantae will pop up a little bit because she still has a little bit of vertical speed left over from when I entered. So you can skip like half the dungeon that way because the intent of the whirlpools is to like stop you from, you know, being able to platform through.
Right.
Just platform your way through the whole thing. But yeah,
I'm trying to remember what's going on with those things. There's like, yeah, I remember this puzzle being kind of crazy. I do though. There's a lot of places where that, like, you know, you saw that one part where you launched up to the top and then you could do that sort of.
Yeah. So you're supposed to just fall back straight down and not be able to make it to the left.
It was supposed to be a tease, right? It's like, oh, you can get up there, but there's some doors, but there yet. But yeah, it turns out.
But it preserves your speed. So.
So yeah, good stuff. Oh, you know what? One I just remembered again. I didn't quite finish the other thing. The missing Shantae music, that song. So that golem. This is, I guess, wow, that was like 2 labyrinths ago. That golem disappearing was a shocker when I saw it in the virtual console.
Yeah,
God, it's really in there. Like we shipped the game with that. And then the missing Shantae song. It turned out that I think that was a Jake Kaufman audition track that was on the cart that we kind of associated as being the Shantae song. But it used, I think, the full CPU to run. So I think it never...
Oh, yeah, this game uses the full CPU to run, I can tell you that.
In my mind, it was always in there. And I think we might have used it in a trailer or something. But moving forward with the game, you know, we always use this kind of main song. And then going back to the original one, I was listening to the soundtracks. We're getting one of those soundtrack releases.
Oh, this part's kind of neat. You can continue, though.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, we were worried about this one. Okay.
So yeah, we don't use the spider to climb up walls anymore. We're using the spider just because it turns you around to the right.
Oh, what?
Yeah, are you gonna get your face stuck in there? Yeah, you're getting through it. So you get where that other thing was going, though. In the end, the audition track was not actually on the game anywhere. So I think since then we found it.
This is really funny.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
You see, this is
so you can see exactly what we're talking about. It's all on the same. It's all loaded at the same time.
Wow.
I know everything you're bumping into right now. I'm intimately familiar with.
Yeah.
My view when working on the game is the black stuff.
We scroll.
So I'm like, oh yeah.
If you go above this room, there's no map up there, and so there's kind of like a Daedalus effect. You can fly, or Icarus. You can fly a little too close to the sun. If you go up there, there's a bunch of garbage tiles because it's not reading from level data anymore. Yeah, so you just get a bunch of garbage graphics, and if you touch the garbage, then you crash.
Yeah, the top. I can tell you what's going on there. The top left. I think there she goes.
Yeah.
I think the top left part of the map array, if I remember right, I think that's where Jimmy used for. Again, I might be using the term wrong, but I think it's blending in all of the tile animations. So anything that's a background animation that's going to be done. Starting from tile 0, and then extending probably down 64 pixels maybe, and then maybe like, I don't know, 100, I don't know, what would it be, maybe 256 to the right or something.
Yeah.
That whole section is basically kind of rewriting itself, and then it's doing all of its rewrites up there, and then it's, because they all share tile data, it's getting drawn into being these like purple parallaxy diamond effects you see in the back there. So that area probably... If you got up there, that might be bad.
Well, no, it just I think it's loading from like just regular game code because it extends for a really long way. You can walk. Some parts of it are safe to touch, but I wasn't gonna be the guy to experiment with that one.
You'll for sure crash it if you go. I think this is 1,024 square tiles, and if you go outside of that, I'm pretty sure it'll just explode.
Yeah. So I have crashed that way in runs before.
So how much time did you save going through the wall?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I have not opened that door legitimately in several months. So I don't actually know.
I think you skipped 2 key puzzles, maybe.
Okay.
I think the main time save comes from the fact that you need 2 keys to get through that final room, and one of them, and those 2 keys you need the harpy form to get. But the first one's way back at the start of the dungeon, and I used all my warp candies already. So I think the main time save comes from avoiding that backtrack all the way to the start, because it's in like the second room. You just go straight up. That's where the key is.
Yeah, those make sense. Yeah, somewhere. There we go. Hey,
She's free.
she's free. She just broke the ropes immediately, no problem.
So I always make this joke on my stream. If I'm playing well, it turns nighttime right at the end of that cutscene, and I'm like, look at how dramatic it is. So this time I was a little faster, so we missed the dramatic timing a little bit on the night cycle, but
Yeah, we always seem to get it coming out of the dribble fountain first time around too. I don't know if it used to not be that way, but it is now.
yeah. So dribble fountain is the only dungeon where time of day continues to advance while you're in it.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. I wonder if that's just a weird oversight.
I was gonna ask you that question.
Because I don't remember it being that way, but in the shipping version, whenever I play it, it shifts immediately to night the moment I walk out the door. And I'm like, why?
That might just be a coincidence, because that does not happen.
it
It turns daytime. It usually turns daytime outside for me, but that's just because it happens. That's just how long the dungeon happens to.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it starts as, we got our Dr. Wily castle.
Yeah.
I think it starts at, there's your scan lines drawing.
I know.
Oh yeah. I noticed that the first time I played the game, and I was like, "Oh, those black corners are sprites, aren't they?" I knew that immediately.
Yeah, there's so many sprites overlapping. You can probably see all over just to try to make up a full color image.
Yeah, because the characters in this game are wide, which is great. Don't get me wrong; it looks fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think Shantae is what is she? 12 colors, but she's overlapped. She's a lot of sprites.
She's a lot of sprite. Yeah.
That was painful, and there was not a tool for that. That was all. Oh my gosh, I can't even describe it. But it was by hand cutting off individual pieces. Then you'd import it into the actual Game Boy tool, and you'd have to reassemble her like a jigsaw puzzle. Every single sprite.
Oh wow.
Layering them all together, and then you got one frame, and then you do it again for frame after frame after frame. Yeah, it was worth it. I mean, the results were cool, but the fact that now it's so much easier. I don't know. It's so many of these things are just not even concerns anymore.
I know.
But it's also, it's like, well, why wouldn't you just you just draw it, just pixel it and it exists.
Yeah. You're not worried about, I can only have 3 colors for every 8x8 region.
Yeah. And, a lot of magic tricks going on with this one. You got to find that perfect angle to get you through.
There's 9 different angles. The sprite moves a lot more. It's a lot more animated, but in the actual angle that you get, it only clamps to 9 fixed values. So luckily there wasn't that many combinations to try. That's the fastest combination I could find for that first one.
That one still to this day bothers me a little bit because I'm kind of bothered.
Okay, I have to tell you guys this now.
Yeah.
The harpy form drops your inputs like no one's business, and every speedrunner is terrified when they go through this section. Like every time I at my wing, I'm hitting A like 3 times because I'm like, I do not want it to drop my input right now.
Yeah, this is a really rough one with the harpy because we knew you could do it as harpy, but we're like, well, is there a way to do this without trivializing it? Because we really kind of, you can imagine the idea. Yeah. We're like, we want them to try all the different.
Right.
This is supposed to be throw the kitchen sink at the player level. We wanted them to play all of the transformations, but.
And this is my favorite song in the game too.
Oh yeah, this is great. Yeah, man, we're going at like record speed right now. Oh yeah, but it does.
Yes, literally.
The canon.
Never comes out.
It's the way. There's like one tile that I know. It's like, oh, if I just opened up that passageway by one more tile, there would have been 2. Yeah, there would have been 2 or 3 different angles. You could have used the cannon, but there's only the one. Because that's when I look back and go, oh, the game's kind of mean. It's like, well, it didn't need to be that mean. It's not like Jimmy didn't write it. So
you got too good at it. You got too good at it and thought it was fine difficulty back then.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh man, open up the passageway.
Well, I think the difficulty's fine now.
That's great. Well, I'm glad to hear it because.
Okay, this tank boss, we finally bust out the fireballs that I bought. 25 minutes ago. Wow. So the whole point of this is, you have to squeeze through that tight hallway. So you have to turn into the monkey, but then you can't attack anymore. So you can't hit the gears. It's like, man, I wish I could attack in monkey form. So that's what the fireballs are for.
Oh.
But the timer on the fireballs is very tight. So this is really tough. It doesn't look tough, but this is probably the hardest boss in the game. And like I was talking about earlier, another speedrunner who I think is from the UK, Turkey, he figured out how to do this boss like 20 seconds faster than me, like 3 years ago. And I was like, no one ever told me about this.
Oh,
So this is like this is the fast route through it.
No,
But
that's
you
really,
could-
really clever.
I mean, you could monkey claw, but then you'd have to go backtrack through the
Yeah,
world.
then you gotta go get it. Yeah. In 100%, which I will run now that I got my 102 that I was so proud of. So look at how much time's left on that one. That fireball right there. Oh, I miss that one all the time. So when I go back to do the run for 100%, we will have the monkey claw, and this boss will be a lot easier. And also, those gears, you have to be within 32 pixels of the gear in order for any of you, or else it's invincible. So you have to be close enough to the gear to like be allowed to damage it, but still far away enough that the fireball is actually gonna touch it, you know? So a lot of people think the hitboxes on this boss like are really bad, and I'm like, no, it's just because you're too far away.
I think I
So
know why now. Because it used to be that you'd fly up the side. Excuse me. I think you'd fly up the side of the boss and just harpies claw slash or whatever.
Oh.
The outside and the boss would just be dead. And I think I don't know. I don't know if I was aware of what the solution is, but I know that Jimmy was like, "Hey, we got a fix for it. It's in."
Okay.
Well, that's what it is.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah, and this
So
one.
when I finally figured out that was why all my attacks were missing, I'm like, I can finally do this boss without struggling really hard.
Yeah, and this one, you know, the more traditional way to cheese it is spider venom and just shoot her, right? Like stay at it, just like boom, 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 because she's dead instantly. I mean, not instantly, but as fast as you can push the button.
Yeah, so
But you'd
it
have to
was it was thought for a very long time that her jump pattern was just straight RNG, and like if she pulled out the gun, you know, she could shoot one time, she could shoot 17 times, and then you know your whole run is ruined right at the end. But it's actually not RNG. I did a lot of hunting to figure that one out. It's based on how close you are to her. So you have like a 10 pixel range you can stand where you can hit her, but she won't, but she'll just jump the next time. So I messed it up one time, so I'll lose a little bit here. But I was extremely happy with this run when I got it. I just was screaming for probably 2 minutes straight. Oh,
it's just
That's really fast. I'm impressed.
yeah. And when do you stop the clock? When have you guys decided like, hey, it's
oh yeah. So it's when it's the last note of the little jingle when you come out the top of the volcano.
Okay. Because as a
That's,
community, you guys have to, like, speedrunners have to decide, right? It's like, hey, when do you? So that's the official.
then-
official end. This is basically recycled extreme sports skydiving in reverse. That's what you're looking at here. If you've ever seen that game, there's a lot. I mean, this game was.
Can you just hide on the right side of the screen in that game too?
Yeah, you got your bubbly lava at the bottom. Oh my gosh, I wonder if you're gonna make it.
You're almost there.
Hey, there you go. That's it. So
Call
yeah,
it done. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Way to go, Purple.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For all you viewers out there, no one has ever submitted a run for 100% yet. So that world record could be yours.
Wow. Yeah, for us, we're just right here. We're right on the cusp of the 20th anniversary of the release of Shantae, this game.
Tomorrow,
Yeah, which for us would be tomorrow. For you guys, if this is posting on Saturday, just a couple days ago. So we've got the original Shantae for Game Boy Color. You know, you can still get it. It's still available. It's still on Virtual
I have
Console.
a copy.
Do you? It's also
It's still in the plastic.
Is it really?
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and then the PS4, PS5
It's coming
version
out.
is coming soon.
Limited run games, yeah.
Yep, and then it's available on Switch. You can get it there still. So yeah, it's available now. It's, you know, in the old days you couldn't get copies of it, but
And we were so sad when it only came out as 10,000 copies. So now finally people are able to play it, which is what we wanted. We released it so that more people could play it because that's what we wanted. You know, we don't really care about it being super rare and expensive. We want, you know, the fans to get to play it. Yeah.
Right, and you can, you know, the limited run re-release of the physical cartridge works on the original hardware. It's the same release ROM. I mean, it's the exact same thing basically in there. So, yeah, so it's still possible to go get a copy. I guess I guess we can call it here. So, but Purple, thank you so much.
You.
Yes, oh, it's such an honor. Oh my god, I was like squealing when I saw you guys in there because I didn't know what staff member was gonna be. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, and thanks, and Erin, thank you for joining. This was really fun.
That was so much fun.
Well, Purple, thanks for celebrating our 20th anniversary with us.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, good luck. And
So yeah, I'll do Hundo next, and then who knows? Maybe I'll play a game from later than 2002 at some point in my life.
let us know if you do it. We'd like to see it.
Okay.
All right, thank you everybody watching. This has been awesome.
Yes.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you. Ready to go.
Bye.